Hi, welcome to this 5 minute rundown of the Bec and Byron Breakdown podcast. Within this video, I talk about an explanation of what happened in each one of our podcasts, and the type of content that we covered. I talk about how we engage with our public audiences, what our strengths and weaknesses was, how we done constant refinement, as well as our general timeline as well that we followed. To introduce our DA, the aim of the DA was to try to educate people within the marketing and media industry about how they can decarbonise and work towards meeting net zero, and try to debunk any theories that were going against this, as well as sort of highlight the general issues that were occurring. That way people could be more educated. We did this through a Spotify podcast, which we recorded in Building 29 using the facilities there. And we also generated YouTube videos by recording the podcast series and then making that as a full-length episode, which people could delve a little bit further into. Breaking down the episodes, episode 1 was an introduction to decarbonisation as well as an introduction to us as presenters. We talked about our own experience in the marketing industry and some examples in which we've found by our working experience. Episode 2 was analysing the best ways to get to net zero. We've done this through a lot of research. We found articles and compared them. We find interesting contrasting points between them as well. Episode 3 was exploring the challenges and how this could be overcome with a central theme of greenwashing. And episode 4 was our final and farewell and conclusion. Throughout the recording of the podcast series, Bec and I followed a refinement process, which initially started with at the end of the first recording of the podcast, we discovered where we needed to improve. And this was definitely... we needed to edit our podcast more. That way there wasn't as much wasted time for the listeners, to research more and be better planned, have more of a structure to the podcast, improving our examples, that way our explanations were better as well as asking for feedback. We asked people who we knew had listened to it what they thought and where we could improve the podcast. Bec and I had a multi-stage way of how we interacted with our audiences. We initially put our podcast up onto Spotify. Spotify allows followers to actually follow the account, and that is a form of engagement. We then put our episodes onto YouTube, and from YouTube we promoted the podcast series on Twitter. And Twitter was used to have more of a personalization as well as actually share the content a little bit more. That way people knew that we had uploaded new episodes and what was going on with our DA. The timeline started with recording the episodes. So firstly we researched and then we recorded each episode. We uploaded to Spotify to begin with, before uploading to YouTube, as we wanted people to listen to the podcast episode, be intrigued and then want to discover more. And a way that they could discover more was through the YouTube episodes, as they were longer, more unfiltered, and had a little bit more of our personalities in them as well. So that way it was a way for audiences to sort of connect with us a little bit further for those who are actually truly intrigued. Although we didn't get to implement our DA the way that we wished due to time constraints and actually make a TikTok channel, I'm still really proud of the body of work that Bec and I produced. I think it actually taught me a lot of skills myself that I can take into the future, into my degree. I never knew how to record a podcast before doing this professionally, so being able to use the equipment was definitely a really good learning experience for myself. And I also feel like I have learned a lot more actually about what decarbonisation was. Before this, I was definitely someone who would have gotten sustainability and decarbonisation mixed up. But I definitely can say that I think I know the difference now. And thank you for listening and going along with this journey of our podcast series. Thank you.